Welcome back, forging friends. Hope everyone had a good Christmas if you do celebrate that holiday, and happy holidays if not. Let's move on to the next deck and see what we got today. Okay, cracking this open, we've got Saurians, Shadows, and Star Alliance. It's Czar K. Korvalik, with a very purple Archon and lots of little bubbles around the edges. That's really cool. I like the lightning, the bubbles around it. Very cool. Take off the cellophane and see what we got today. Okay, let's pull the Archon card out and drop that down, square it up, and first we're starting off with Star Alliance. We're starting with Kurkar's Blaster. It's an upgrade with an Amber Pip. This creature gains Fight Reap. You may deal 2 damage to a creature or attach Kurkar's Blaster to Lieutenant Kurkar. After you attach Kurkar's Blaster to Lieutenant Kurkar, ward Lieutenant Kurkar. Alright, so we have a Kurkar in this deck. Let's see if we can get multiples. Oh, we have another Blaster. We have Garcia's Blaster, another upgrade with an Amber Pip. This creature gains Fight Reap. You may deal 2 damage to a creature or attach Garcia's Blaster to Censor Chief Garcia. After you attach Garcia's Blaster to Censor Chief Garcia, steal 1 Amber. Alright, we got a couple upgrades right off the bat. General Order 24, a rare artifact. At the start of each player's turn, they must choose a creature they control and destroy each creature of the chosen creature's house. If that player has no creatures in play, destroy General Order 24 instead. Great when you're behind on creatures. That's a pretty good kind of board wipe, keeping your opponent's board in check. Xeno Training is an action card with an Amber Pip. For each house represented among friendly creatures, a friendly creature captures 1 Amber. So you might be able to capture up to 3 with this. Good Amber control. Nice to see. Transporter Platform. Great card to see with those 2 upgrades so far. Amber, when you play it, action, return a friendly creature and each upgrade attached to it to your hand. Let's get some more upgrades then. And we do. Force Field is an upgrade with an Amber Pip. This creature gains Reap or this creature. All right. Good on something that we really want to have a good Reap effect on and protect as well. Calvin. It is a creature with 2 power, 1 armor. Fight Reap, draw a card. Calvin may be played as an upgrade instead of a creature with the text, this creature gains Fight Reap, draw a card. Very nice versatile card. Improves our efficiency, I think, as well. There is Censor Chief Garcia, a 3 power creature with play Fight Reap. Keys cost +2 Amber during your opponent's next turn. Great target for that upgrade that wards her. Excellent. Medic Ingram is a 3 power creature with play Fight Reap. You may heal 3 damage from a creature and ward it. Fantastic card. Usually lasts quite a long time if she wards herself. There is Lieutenant Kurkar, a 5 power creature with Taunt and Hazardous 3. Great to protect that Garcia. We have Calm Officer Kirby, a 3 power creature with play Fight Reap. You may play a non-Star Alliance artifact, upgrade, or action card this turn. Nice, that's some versatility to that Star Alliance turn. And we have 2 of him. Excellent. All right, moving on to Shadows, we have Lethal Distraction. It's an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, choose a creature for the remainder of the turn. Whenever this creature takes damage, it takes an additional 2 damage. So we'd like to see some more damage spreading in Shadows. We'd like to see some more cards that can actually do some easy damage spreading. Hunter or Hunted, an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, ward a creature or move a ward from a creature to another creature. I really like this card, actually. It's great against any decks that are really defensive. And you can not only pop a ward from something, but you can take that ward and add it to one of your own people. So that is a really nice card. We have the Subtle Chain, an action card with an Amber Pip. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand. Great disruption. Skeleton Key is an artifact. Action, a friendly creature captures 1 Amber. It's some good small Amber kind of displacement. Dusk Runner, upgrade with this creature gains Reap, steal 1 Amber. Want to see some good Shadows creatures here. We have the Chain Gang, a 3 power creature with after you play Subtle Chain, ready Chain Gang. Action, steal 1 Amber. Shuffle a Subtle Chain from your discard pile into your deck. We ideally would like to see this in Subtle Chain in multiples, but, having 1 of each isn't terrible. Mug, and action card with an Amber Pip. Play, move 1 Amber from a creature to your pool, deal 2 damage to that creature. Nice spot damage. We can use that with that Lethal Distraction. We have Javinda, a 2 power creature with Elusive. Reap, deal 1 damage to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, steal 1 amber. Could also use that with the lethal distraction as well. We have Hawk. Good to see some artifact control. Action card with an amber pip. Destroy an artifact. If you do, gain 1 amber. Very nice. Hit and run in action card with play. Deal 2 damage to a creature. Return a friendly creature to your hand. We had a couple play effects in Star Alliance, but I don't know that we had that many in Shadows or any at all, really. So this might not be the best card for that return to hand effect, but at least we can use that with the lethal distraction and, deal up to 4 damage with this. And we have 2 of that. Breaker Hill is a creature with 1 power and elusive, and each of his neighbors gains action steal 1. Okay. Going to Saurians, we have the rare action, Good of the Many. Destroy each creature that does not share a trait with another creature in its controller's battle line. So this is really good whenever we have generally one house being like the main presence on our board, and our opponent's board is pretty split up between their houses. Okay. Sounds good. Exile, an action card with an amber pip. Give control of a friendly creature to your opponent. Great card if we have a lot of capturing. So we want to have a way to pile up a bunch of amber on like an inconsequential creature and then just give it to our opponent. And then a very easy way to destroy that creature too. So we'll keep a lookout for that. We have Centurion's Denopius, a 3-power creature with 2 armor, and he gains +3 power for each amber on him. When you play, fight, or reap with him, you may exalt him. So you drop him down, and he's already a 6/2, which is pretty big. Short of board wipes, he'll be very hard to take out. We have Ancient Power, an action card with an amber pip. Ward each friendly creature with amber on it. Okay, so we want to see lots of exalting in this deck, obviously. Perfect. There's the Senator Shrix, a 4-power creature with 1 armor. You may spend amber on Senator Shrix as if it were in your pool. Play reap, you may exalt Senator Shrix. Excellent card. Quester Jarda, a 3-power creature with elusive, and when he reaps, you may exalt him. If you do, gain 1 amber. So you can reap for 2 if you exalt him. And then we have that card that lets him get warded. Phalanx Strike is an action card with an amber pip. Choose a creature, deal 1 damage to it for each friendly creature. You may exalt a friendly creature to repeat the preceding effect. So this is a great card when we have a lot of creatures in our deck, and they're all pretty sticky. I'm not sure how many we'll have in here, but I think a decent amount so far of Saurians at least. So we'll see how good that one ends up being. Odoak the Patrician is a 5-power creature with play. Capture 1 amber, and while he has amber on him, your amber cannot be stolen. Good anti-shadows or stealing in general. We have 2 of him. More consistency, that's nice. We have 3 of him. Excellent consistency for that one. We have Legatus Raptor, a 4-power creature with 1 armor. And fight, you may exalt Legatus Raptor. If you do, ready and use another friendly creature. So he's usually a pretty big target since he lets you use stuff again or off house. So if he does survive, though, you can get a lot of value out of him. But, I think a lot of the creatures in this deck have had exalt effects, so ways to get amber on them, which is really nice for kind of our kit here. Final card is Chant of Hubris, an action card with an amber pip. Play, move 1 amber from a creature to another creature. All right, not super consistent with a lot of things here, but we have quite a lot of tools in this deck, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this one ends up stacking up. All right. I think we can do the counts now. Okay, I've gone ahead and separated out the cards, so let's go ahead and do our counts. For creatures, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 creatures. And then we have amber. I'm going to go ahead and count Shrix as amber because whenever he's played, you can use the amber on him that gets generated. So there'll be 1 amber on him. And, he's easier to get rid of than the normal amber in your pool, but I think this will count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 creatures and 16 amber on the card. Okay, let's look at amber control, amber/key control. So looking at the creatures, I think we have the Garcia, so we'll count that as 1. We have this, they can steal 1, so that's 2. That one only steals if it damages or destroys a creature, so we'll say 2.5. This one, I'll say 3.5, since we could just set him next to something that's already ready. So 3.5. 3.5 with from our creatures. And then from our other cards, we've got from our amber cards. This one can steal 1, so we'll say 4, but that's only because we have to attach it to the Garcia. We only have 1 Garcia, so we'll say 4. 5. 6. 6 so far, I think. And from our other cards, we have the Skeleton Key, which will be 7. And that's 7. So 7 Amber Control. That's not bad. With varying levels of control. And then we go to the Artifact Control, which I believe was just the 1 card. I think all we have for Artifact Control is the Hawk. Yeah, that's the only Artifact Control we have. So not great. I'd like to see at least 2 or 3 of those. But okay, so we have 16 creatures, 16 amber, 7 cards that amber control in some way, and we have 1 artifact control. For creature control, anything that damages a creature or destroys creatures, let's look at that. We have, let's see, so he does 1 damage. We'll count him as half since it's only 1 damage. Nothing else with the creatures. For the amber cards, 2 damage and 2 damage. Pretty easy effect. So we'll say 1.5, 2.5. We'll count that as half since it requires another card. So we'll say 3. 4. 5. 6. 7, 8, 9. 9 creature control cards. That's pretty good. 9 creature control. For efficiency, anything that lets us play off house or lets us draw cards. So we have the Calm Officer Kirby, so that's 1, 2, increases our efficiency. 3 lets us draw cards. 3 so far. I think that's 3 with the creatures. Anything with the amber cards. Nothing else with the amber cards, and I don't think we have anything with the kind of odd cards that increases our efficiency. So 3 efficiency increasers, pretty good. Most we've seen so far, I think. As far as recursion goes, I don't think we have any, unless you would say that the transport platform could help us recur, like a damaged creature back to our hand. And then I could also actually probably count these 3. So there's a chance that we could play these 3, transfer platform that creature back to our hand, play them again. So we could count that as like, what, 16 to 19 amber potentially. But I think I'll just leave it at 16 because that's kind of situational. And we only have 1 transporter platform, so that might not happen very often. We'd have to get the artifact early and then get all 3 of these later on because I'm not going to hold them in my hand, right? That's not good play. So we'll say 16 for the amber, but also for the efficiency, the recursion, we'll just say 0 because I don't know that I would count transporter platform for that. For disruption, we do have the subtle chain that can get a card out of our opponent's hand. And I think that's pretty much it for disruption. Hand control or something that gives our opponent some chains or something like that. I don't think we have anything else that basically isn't damaging or creature control in some way, or amber control. Right, so, I mean, this is actually kind of disruptive. Our opponent steals. I mean, it's very specific to stealing, but we have 3 of them. So I'll add, let's see, we have one so far. I'll count each of these as half, since they're great against steals, but only stealing. So we'll say 1.5 for these three, and 1 for the subtle chain. So that's 2.5 as far as disruption goes. Yeah, so those are our numbers. Overall, interesting deck. We didn't have really that much capturing, so that exile might be a little difficult to use, but I think we have a lot of exalting. So for example, if looking at our creatures here, this guy, he can kind of continually get amber on him, and if he fights a lot, then he'll take a lot of damage. So we could potentially fight a lot with him, get a bunch of amber on him, and then exile him and destroy him with maybe our that one card that lets us destroy a creature for each, or do damage. Our Phalanx Strike. We can Phalanx Strike him. We have a lot of different ways of destroying creatures in this deck, so we could potentially do that. We could maybe, exile him. That'd be kind of dangerous. So we would only exile him if we were sure that we wouldn't get the benefit out of it, and we could do it in the same turn that we exile him. For that similar reason, we could exile him, probably not him, because he doesn't have a way to self-generate Exalted Amber on himself. And I think that's pretty much it. As far as action cards that let us exalt, that one lets us exalt, the Phalanx Strike, and that's pretty much it seems like. This lets us capture. So there might be a bit of amber on here, but I think ultimately it's not going to be the best way to, the highest exile. We can also capture one with this skeleton key. So I think we'll just have to maybe put 4 to 5 amber potentially on one creature and then exile it, and then destroy it with one of our myriad of destroying effects. So that's probably going to be the main play there for this deck. So overall, looking at it, I wouldn't say that it is, Worlds Collide Saurian is supposed to be known as like one of the strongest houses in Keyforge. This one isn't super exciting to me. It doesn't have any standout kind of strategies in my opinion. It's not bad though. I don't think there's anything super bad about this deck. Nothing holding it back a bunch. Just a couple of missed opportunities here and there for other cards that could have, probably synergized with the other cards better. So that being said, I want to say that this deck is in the 60s somewhere, maybe low 70s. So I'm going to rate it, let's say, that's a tough one. I'm going to say this one is a 67, 66 to 67, somewhere in there is what I'll say. It might be higher, because it has 3 powerful houses in it, so that might, instantly give it a higher SAS score, but I'm going to say 67. 67. We'll say 67, and go ahead and make your guess, and I'll see you at my desktop. And welcome back to my desktop, everyone. I have the link copied, and let's see what this deck can do. As I said, I'm going to guess that this one is a 67. It had a lot of really good tools, and I think it's a decent deck, but it didn't have anything stand out that really made me excited about it. I think that if it had maybe a few more things in that Saurian house, I think the Saurian house, kind of a missed opportunity. It needed a few more things that could capture, and a few more standout cards for it to really be an amazing deck. But as it is, I think it's a 67. Also, the Shadows was a little bit mediocre in my opinion. But yeah, go ahead and make your guesses now, and let's see. Here we go. Again, I guessed a 67. 71. Okay, not too far off. A little bit better than I expected it being. Okay, so let's see what we have here. For Amber Control, we have a few things taking away from Amber Control for some reason. Because, anything that exalts, I think, will immediately take away from our Amber Control, because it's potential Amber our opponent can get. So Senator Shrix does add Amber for us, but it also takes away a quarter of an Amber. Same with Questor Jarda, Legatus Raptor, and Phalanx Strike, because all of those cards kind of exalt a creature on their own. Okay.
Failing Strike is an optional exalt, but for the rest of them, they're not. Okay. So the most benefit we're getting out of Admiral Control is Chain Gang, because it's just consistently, it can just steal every turn. Garcia requires a little bit of, well, it doesn't really steal. It just kind of delays the opponent. And Xeno Training requires us to have some creatures on the board. So as far as the most benefit we get is the Chain Gang, the most consistent one. For Artifact Control, like we said, Hawk is the only one we have. Nothing really taking away expected amber from us. We have kind of a high expected amber, considering we only had 16 creatures and 16 to 19, amber on the cards. And the biggest benefit was that transporter platform. So they value transporter platform quite high, actually. And since we have a fair few upgrades, I can see that. Only 3 of our upgrades, though, had amber on them. So, as I said, I think we would want to see that transporter platform pretty early on when playing this deck, and then try to get those upgrades a little later. So, if I started my game off with relatively few creatures and a lot of the upgrades, I might mulligan, try to get that transporter platform out early, and hope that there's no artifact control from my opponent. Okay. Creature control, nothing taking away from that. The General Order 24 is pretty significant when it comes to creature control, as expected. Speed, we have a bit more speed. We have those 2 Comm Officer Kirby's and the Calvin really bumping up our speed in this deck, so that's great to see. Not too much effective power. We had a lot of weaker creatures, and again, we had quite a lot of board control kind of cards. The Exile also getting rid of one of our creatures, so that was a -5 to effective power, and the General Order taking away 15. Okay. So moving down here, we have for disruption, we have the Subtle Chain is the only disruptive card. And 16 creatures, as we said. So let's look at our synergy details. Anything adding a significant amount of synergy? We have the Comm Officer Kirby getting the best off of things that replay creatures, like our transporter platform. So yeah, the Comm Officer Kirby will really be good with a transporter platform, especially if we can load him up with a bunch of upgrades. We can play him, play a bunch of upgrades on him, put him back, and then get his play effect twice, as well as all those upgrades twice. So yeah, that's something that our opponent will have to look out for, especially since we have 2 of him. So he's a great target for that transporter platform. Absolutely. And we have the Kirkar and Medic Ingram that can protect him as well as the Force Field upgrade. So that's fantastic. Ancient Power will let us ward creatures with amber on them. So we have quite a few abilities that make us exalt. So we should get lots of value off of that consistently. Anything else? We have that transporter platform with quite a few upgrades, as we said, so that's great. Odawak the Patrician. Oh, actually, hold on here. Failing Strike gets some negative synergy because of the low creature count. We have 16, which, compared to what we saw in Winds of Exchange, is pretty good, I would say, from the decks we had there. But in Worlds Collide, the creature count is much higher on average. So we did lose some there. And then Odawak got some bonus because we have some things that protect creatures, so that's good. Mug is good because we have exalts. We can move amber off of those exalted creatures if we wanted to. Let's see, anything else that's super significant? We have the Chant of Hubris because we have things that capture and things that exalt, so that we got a lot of benefit off of that. Xeno Training, we got a hit for Xeno Training because we have low total creature power. This captures, it's a mass amber capture. So having low total creature power means we have, we can't really keep that amber away from our opponent for a long time. So it's going to end up going back to them pretty soon. But it's great to just kind of get our opponent off key at those critical moments. So Lethal Distraction, we have a lot of things that deal damage. So yeah, like we thought, that's a good synergy card. Exile has a huge list here. The best things we have are things that capture amber. So we have a few things that capture amber, and we have a few things that exalt friendly. So these two together are the main ways we want to use Exile. Definitely not an early game card for us. We want to kind of build up a creature with a lot of amber, protect it with that Medic Ingram and all the cards we have that protect, and then exile it when it's the weakest it can possibly be before we take it out. All right, so looking at the rest of this, Questor Jara, we have protects. That's good. Breaker Hill. And let's see. I wonder if I can make this a little smaller so I can show that the good of the many over here, it's hard to show because my screen won't scroll down anymore, but it has a negative 25% synergy because of the low creature count. Good of the many is the one that destroys each creature that does not share a trait with another creature in its control's battle line. It's a very situational card that we want to use. It might end up being a discard if we have a decent board of a variety of creatures. So that's something to consider. And at the very bottom here, you can't see it. We had a lot of anti-synergy with General Order 24 because of a lot of our creatures have really good reap abilities. So having this General Order kind of work against us, it might be a card we discard more often than not. We have creatures with good actions, we have creatures with good fight abilities, and we have creatures with good reap abilities, which have a lot of anti-synergy with General Order 24. It did give us 120% positive synergy because we have things with good play effects. And I guess that makes it to where we can cycle them more, I suppose. And yeah, so potentially that's it, but mostly good reaps, good actions, good fights kind of overtake the downside of having that General Order in there. So that might be a discard more often than not. But we were pretty close. We were only 4 away from this one. Not bad. So this isn't a bad deck overall, like we thought. Okay. Well, what was your guess? Feel free to leave a comment down below if you if you want to about what guess you had. And as always, I'd appreciate a like. And if you really enjoyed this content, please subscribe. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.